All right, welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching TV47 Breakfast. If you're just joining us, this morning you want to shift gears and talk matters climate change. And for a very long time when you talk about a climate crisis, it often feels like a very massive thing for an ordinary mwananchi just to sort it out. But this morning we want to talk about climate action starting at home, basically just exploring how localized innovative solutions can safeguard the environment, our soil, boost food security, and of course reshape how we take care of our environment. And for this conversation, I do have with me in studio Rhoda Katileve. She's a founder and CEO of Solution. She'll be telling us what that is about. Karibu sana Rhoda, thank you for making time. We also have Fidel Ouma. He's an environmental advocate. Karibu Fidel. Thank you guys for making time this morning. And let's start with you, Rhoda. Solution, what is this about?
Solution is a startup that recycles sanitary waste, the diapers. So what we do, we harvest the super absorbent polymers in the diapers and then we add them to the soil. By adding them to the soil, we increase the water retention for soil, so that increases crop yields and also reduces the emission of methane gases in the landfills by the diapers.
So when we talk about sanitary waste, is it just about the diapers, or we also have, you know, the pads that we know about?
Okay, so first of all, right now we are only dealing with the diapers, but after we get our lead or way, we're going to switch to sanitary pads. Yeah.
All right. So for now, it's just diapers.
Yes.
All right. We'll also be getting from Fidel Atuambie what he thinks about Solution, if at all that will help boost the soils, as of course you envision with Solution. But as an environmental advocate, Fidel, what do you do on a daily basis? What are you championing for? How does that look like?
So I champion for sustainable living and community climate action. Yeah.
What is sustainable living all about?
Sustainable living is
free yourself. Umejishikilia sana. Feel at home. Yes. Tell us what sustainable living is about.
Okay, we first in a broader view, I speak about the effects of the climate change to the environment. And so Kenya came up with the Climate Change Act of 2016, which speaks about the sustainable living, where we can have that food security and use fewer resources in agriculture, and we can fight the common problems that we are having currently with the droughts, the floods. So it all points out to the food security. Yeah.
Are we ready to take up the challenge of just protecting the environment, our soils, and everything that regards the climate? Are we ready for that?
Yes.
Do you think we're ready for that as a nation?
Yes.
What do you think, Rhoda?
I think that is a personal initiative, because even if we have the policies in place, I think it's up to the common mwananchi to do that. And I don't think a lot of people in the country have that personal initiative to do it, because they don't see the need to do it. So I feel like we need to have more public education on what climate action is and how everyone plays a role, because people think it's just the government, the policies, but it all comes down to us as individuals. Yeah.
So you think that public education is needed as far as climate action is concerned, right?
Yes.
For you, do you think it's enough? We have enough public education, enough public awareness as regards climate action, and this as an environmental advocate, Fidel? Because, Rhoda amesema there still needs to be done. A lot still needs to be done when you're talking about climate change and climate action. So for you, do you think we have enough awareness?
Currently, we don't have enough awareness.
Where are the gaps?
The gap we have, of course, there are these three groups of people. They are the scientists. They say the people who work with the international environmental organizations. And then there is also this group of skeptic scientists. And then there is now the group of the common mwananchi. And also there is a group of people who don't believe much on the global warming. And so The knowledge gap comes because we see the practices that is done by the local, the uneducated mwananchi around, tells that there is still a gap, there's more to do in terms of the climate action. Yeah.
All right. Let's get back to solution now, Rhoda. You say that it helps improve water retention and crop yields in arid areas. Is it only in the arid areas, or can this be used in areas where, you know, we see rainfall quite often? Counties like maybe Nairobi, you see like Kipia, Nyandarua, such counties. Is it only focused and tailored to arid areas?
No, it's not tailored to arid areas only. Our purpose is to improve water retention. The reason we went for the arid areas is because they suffer a lot. I personally coming from a place where it's so dry and there are no yields. So we went there first so that we can improve their livelihoods. But you can use it anywhere. Our other nini was to use it in the kitchen gardens. Yes, where you can just use minimum amount of water and get the maximum yield. So yeah, it's not just tailored to the arid areas. Yeah.
I'm interested to know how the end product looks like after, of course, changing that sanitary product into something that is now used for water retention and, of course, to boost the soil. How does the end product look like?
It looks like white, grainy, salt-like, just granules. Yeah. Yeah.
Fidel, what do you think of this product solution? Yeah, and are we ready to also adopt, you know, recycled waste products as a nation for to boost the soil and for things like water retention? What do you think of solution?
A solution is it's just an idea from the mulching that we used to have. Remember, mulching is to retain that moisture in the soil. In Kenya, 80% of Kenya is semi-arid, the asal. Yeah. So if we can have methods like the solution to retain the water capacity, like let's say that I saw this in Makueni, they were planting trees, and then you see these pampas. They cover around, just around the roots of the plants, and then they can water the plant once in a week or even twice in a week, but then the moisture is still retained. Yeah, so I think this is one of the best solutions to retain the moisture within the soil. Yeah.
Rhoda, you know, I asked about how the final product looks like, but walk us through the steps that you take to get to that final product. And when you're recycling this, unashaga, ama what exactly are you doing to get to that final product that looks greenish?
Okay. So solution, first of all, is a circular economy, meaning nothing goes into waste. In a diaper, we have 3 products. We have the plastic lining.
This is the normal diaper that we know, any diaper?
Any diaper, okay. Yes. We have the plastic lining, then we have the cellulose, the one that looks like cotton. Then now we have the SAPs, the one that are necessary for the retention of the urine. I'm not sure if you've seen a new diaper and a soiled diaper. It's really big.
Yeah.
So the super absorbent polymers now, the SAPs that we harvest, are the ones necessary for absorbing this urine, so they swell. So we take advantage of the same mechanism. So first, when we get the diapers, we sanitize them. We carry out medical sterilization to ensure that there are no pathogens. Then after that, we shred everything together. So by shredding, you're going to have a mixture of, first of all, the fecal matter, the plastic, the cellulose, and the SAPs in place. Then you sieve first, because the SAPs are grains, they look like salt. You sieve first, the SAPs will just come down, and then you'll be left with cellulose, the nylon, and the fecal matter. The nylon can be melted and then reused back to the plastic industries. And the cellulose and the fecal matter can be compacted. We were thinking of using them as blocks, that like compacting them to blocks that you're going to burn to sustain our autoclaves that are going to carry out the medical sterilization. So now back to the SAPs, the superabsorbent polymers in the diapers contain sodium, but sodium is bad for the plants. So once you get those SAPs, we carry out ion exchange. You mix with potassium hydroxide, so that's because potassium is reactive than sodium, it's going to replace the sodium is going to be replaced with potassium, so you end up with potassium superabsorbent polymers, and the sodium now is going back to the, so it was sodium hydroxide.
Yeah.
Sorry, potassium hydroxide.
We are in a science class this morning.
So because it was potassium hydroxide that we added to substitute the sodium, we're now going to be left with sodium hydroxide. So the sodium hydroxide can still be sold to the soap industries that use it. So we are planning to have a no waste circular economy. Yeah.
So when you talk about, you mentioned something about fecal matter. Can't you use fresh diapers? Does it have to be a used diaper?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be a used diaper, but we're planning to kill two birds with one stone.
Okay.
One diaper takes 500 years to degrade, if you never knew that. So the diaper that has been used today and is going to be dumped in the landfill is going to last for generations unless it's used. So, and when it's in the landfills, they release methane gas. As you know, methane is 28 times more, traps the heat 28 times more than CO2, so it's more harmful than CO2. So yeah, that is why we're planning to recycle the used diapers. Yes, because no one has ever recycled diapers. We only recycled glass, we recycled plastic, and something had to be done about it because it's becoming a nuisance and people are thinking of going back to the washable diapers. But I think if there's a method to take care of the used diapers, yeah, we're going to have like a better economy, a cleaner economy, and we're going to reduce the emissions that are going to the atmosphere.
All right. That is quite interesting, and we'll be getting deeper into that just to understand the inspiration behind it. But Fidel, when you talk about climate action starts at home, what do we mean?
Yes, climate action starts from home. Remember, we are the main cause, we as human beings, we are the main cause of the climate change. And we ourselves are the solutions. And so we have some of the practices which leads to the grand problem. When we have the problems at the sea, we have the problems of the droughts and the floods, and any other problem mentioned about the climate change. For example, we have the main causes are the pollution and burning of the fossil fuels. Yes, so let me use the two. Burning of the fossil fuels and the pollutions. So pollution starts from, let's say, the agriculture from homes, and then we have the waste from homes, especially the waste. When we speak about the waste, we ourselves are at homes, we can decide that we are no longer using these bags which are bought once and then disposed. So we can rather decide and use bags which are reused time and again. So it starts from homes. And then again we have the fossil fuels. Like we can entirely decide to use the renewable sources of energy at homes rather than using the fossil fuels. And then again, from homes, the education starts from home. We say charity starts from home. So when we have that good education from home, then it is possible that we can conquer it as a nation. So before we conquer it as a nation, it must start by an individual initiative. So individual initiatives, again, on the recycling of waste, we can decide from homes and segregate the waste. We, most of homes, we use a common compost, a common dustbin, where we have glasses and any other thing. So we can decide and segregate them from homes so that we have the reuse, making it possible. Because if we say that in Kenya, just about 20% of the waste is recycled. A majority of it is not recycled. So meaning if we can have this segregation from home, then it would be possible. So it must start from home.
All right. This waste that is not recycled, Rhoda, where is it going?
It goes to the landfills like Dandora, and in the landfills, as he said, in the waste that we take at home, we have the kitchen waste and the plastics.
Yeah.
So when the kitchen waste is put in the landfills on top of the plastics, it's going to degrade without oxygen, and it's going to release methane gases. So it's this same waste that is not recycled that leads to the greenhouse gases emission, because as we all know, waste is not trash until you mix it. Because the same way he said, the segregation of waste, if you have like a place where you have the kitchen waste and the plastic, and have people collecting the kitchen waste, going to compost it, we're going to have manure, right? And for the plastics, we have companies like Jijenge. Jijenge, they recycle plastic to make pavement bricks. You see, that plastic will also go and become useful in the landfills. So also the fossil fuels. I feel like charcoal is a nuisance because once it burns, it releases CO2. So we can replace it with briquettes. These are like, I don't know if have you heard of briquettes, first of all?
What are those?
They're like a different version of charcoal. Yeah, we have two types of briquettes. We have ones from the agricultural waste products, where they take things like sugarcane and compact them into like small two balls that resemble the same charcoal. We also have, you see, the remaining charcoal dust.
So sugarcane to charcoal.
Also coconut husks can be used. We have a lot of waste that can be used to make briquettes, agricultural waste. At the same time, you see the charcoal dust that people don't use, that's thrown away. Some people take it, then they use binders like cassava. Once they bind it again, you come up with briquettes. So the good thing about briquettes is that they burn for longer and they release less emissions, because the charcoal can burn for like 1 to 2 hours, the briquettes burn for like 3 to 4 hours. Also the clean energy bado on the fossil fuels. We have companies like Mukuru Clean Stoves. The founder is Charlotte Magai. They champion for clean cooking. It emits less energy, and Charlotte also has come up with briquettes that also double as mosquito repellent. So yeah, I feel like there are people doing something, and if people adopt this, if they stop using the normal charcoal, the normal jikos, and buy maybe the Mukuru clean stoves, there'll be less emissions. If you also use the briquettes, we wouldn't have to cut down trees. We can just go back to our waste, make more briquettes, and there'll be less emissions. And
let's talk about segregation of waste, putting the dry waste on one side and the wet waste on that side. Looking at how, a lot of Kenyans, or maybe Kenyan living in, the urban areas in Nairobi, for instance, are we at a state where we are privileged enough to be able to segregate this waste just to help in championing for, climate change and help in climate action? Because seeing how we're given hizo karatasi za takataka, it's always just one, and the dustbin at home is also maybe one, maybe. So are we ready to get to that place where we are now segregating waste?
Yeah, I feel, it's just...
Do you do that at home yourself?
Yes, I try, yes.
You try?
Yes. But the issue is, you can segregate at your home, at your house, right? But then once you're going to the main bin, you have to like give them both, even if they're segregated. So it all comes back to public education. We need to educate these people that first are collecting the waste, that we can have 2 trucks, one that's going around collecting the plastics, and they know where to take them, maybe to the companies that need them and all that, and others collecting the kitchen waste, so that they know that once you collect this kitchen waste, you're going to take it to the landfills, Oh, not the landfill, sorry, the composts, so that you make manure with them. So, and then back to the landlords now, they give just one.
Yeah.
They can be educated that you can give us two, one for the kitchen waste, another one for this, and also the government. I feel like there are a lot of funds that go into climate action, and if they just spare a little, they can come up with a way to make sure that each household or just a neighborhood, you know, I'm not sure if it's Kilimani, there's a place that does that. They have like common bins where if you have kitchen waste, go and dump it here. If you have plastic waste, go and dump it here. So it's not just, if it's maybe a community and people cannot afford that, you can just have one common bin, then just educate these people. If you have like leftover ugali, just dump it here. If you have plastics, just here. And
All right, that question on how does climate action starting at home look like? You didn't respond to that as well. Walk us through your own, interpretation of that. What should we do at household levels, apart from, just segregation of waste, to ensure that we are taking part in climate action?
Okay. So first of all, in order for us to know how to tackle the problem at home, I feel like we need to understand why there's need for climate action. So climate action, just as he said, is necessary because right now we are emitting a lot of gases, the greenhouse gases that are trapping heat that leads to the global warming. So we have to look at home, what are we using or what are we doing to emit, how are we contributing to these gases, because it's not just the factories. So as he said, one, there's the segregation of waste. Two, we have the clean energy, clean cooking energy. You can shift to the clean stoves, the briquettes. You can also use the renewable sources of energy, the biomass and all that. Then there's also the packaging and that. So we need to understand that every shilling you spend is a vote for the world you wish to live in future. So you can start by saying, okay, as a person, I'm not going to purchase this just single-use plastic packaging bags and all that. Yeah, so I feel like if we start there and we boycott the plastic, the manufacturers now, they'll have to go back to the drawing board and start manufacturing this biodegradable packaging material. So I think as for us, we need to start, as you as a person, maybe you buy a packaging that's refillable, so that if I use it right now, I can just go back and refill anything I can. For the others, you can also buy the packaging that's biodegradable. We have packages that are made from sugarcane and all that. Because
are they accessible? Like packaging made from sugarcane, are they accessible to? I've never seen such a packaging. So are they accessible to everyone?
No, not to everyone. So I feel like we need to champion more, but they are there. I've seen a lot of them. The food packaging, also the coffee cups, we have a lot. So it's up to us to do more research on how you can help this climate action. So if maybe you're given plastic bags and you know that you're not supposed to use plastic bags, you can just no, don't give me these plastic bags, just
All right. And Fidel, kindly expound on this. You mentioned that we need to be using renewable sources of energy more other than fossil fuel. What are these renewable sources of energy that you're referring to?
Renewable sources of energy, we have one of them, we have the solar panels. And then we have the hydropower. So majorly, power can be obtained through two methods. It's either hydro, no, not two methods. We have the hydro methods, we have the solar methods, and then we have burning of the fossil fuel. So renewable sources of energy, this one I want also to bring in the e-mobility, the electric vehicles coming in. So renewable sources of energy are these energy sources which can be reused again and again, just as the briquettes she mentioned. Yeah, those are the sources of energy that can be used more than once. Yeah.
You want to add on that, Rhoda? the renewable sources of energy, or has he depleted all of them?
I think he has, but on the EV, you can try and source things that are easily accessible to you instead of maybe purchasing things from Kericho and you're here. Because if you purchase things that are grown, let's say here in Nairobi, you're reducing the emissions, because if I'm purchasing something from Kericho, that car has to move from Kericho to here, and on its way it's going to be emitting some gases. So we can also adopt that method of purchase things like where you are, or try and grow them yourself, and also try and plant trees. And after you plant, make sure that tree, you know, matures, and
So are we discouraging the use of kuni, kupika? You know, the way, and this is what a lot of people in rural areas can afford. The 3 stones and hizi kuni wameenda wakatafuta. Those are the things that they can afford. Are we discouraging that when we talk about now us shifting from charcoal to now the use of briquettes?
Yes, we are highly discouraging, because first of all, if you look at the kuni, they come from trees. You see, once we cut down the trees, that's deforestation. We're not going to have things that can trap the carbon. So the carbon is still going to be emitted, and we're going to have the global warming. That is why we're discouraging. 2, it's not safe, because some people die from those kunis and all that. Just that it's not as publicized as you can imagine. Yeah, so I feel like, yeah, we are. And if the government can, they can like make sure that each household in these rural areas, they have their own jikos and these clean stoves. And also from this waste, agricultural waste, I believe that in every rural place, they have their own agricultural waste. If yours is sugarcane, they can be taught on how to compact this sugarcane to make something that you can burn that is not emitting those gases. Maybe in the coast you have the coconut, you can use the same coconut. Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, and I feel like we can come up with solutions if we want.
When you talk about sometimes for kuni we cut trees, you know, I'm a village girl, partly, and sometimes conduct after kuni, it's always the ones that, you know, have dried up and then they've just dropped. So ideally you're not cutting down any trees, you're just picking up the ones that had already dried up and had fallen down. So are we really, you know, do we have the luxury of that in the rural areas to now shift from picking up this kuni, dried up kuni that are down to use, because they're easily accessible and they're easy to use and they get the work done. So are we ready for that luxurious way of living?
Right now, I don't think we can afford that, because I'm also from the rural areas, and I don't think someone will understand you when you tell them, you know, we have these stoves.
Achana na kuni.
Achana na hii kuni kabisa, enda ununue hii, and they can say that naeza enda nichukue this dried up ninis from the ground and just use them. So I feel like for that, it's just, first of all, public education. You educate them on why you burning this is going to release this kind of gases and it's going to affect us in the near future, and then give them solutions. Because first of all, like, you cannot start by burning charcoal and you don't have solution. So I feel like if you're going to tell them achana na hii kuni, you need to tell them achana na hii kuni, nimekuletea hii. And then after you bring the stoves, maybe educate them on ways that they can use the safer methods, because also the clean stoves, you can use them with charcoal. So they can use the kuni they had to make charcoal, and then it's going to burn, like, it's going to release less using the clean stoves. So yeah, we don't have the luxury right now, but I feel like with proper education and proper funding, and yeah, we can manage.
Fidel, how about you? Same question. What do you think needs to be done to get the people in the rural areas to also adopt to the use of briquettes, as you guys champion for?
First, in as much as we tunatumia kuni, we can also use it moderately. I think there are advanced methods. Like there is this, I was seeing this initiative at home of jikokoa. I think even most of high schools have it. that there's this kiln where it is built with bricks, so that you can have one firewood, and then it retains heat for a long time. So these are some of the things that we can use, so that we avoid most of the deforestation. Yeah, because in as much as yes, we come from the village, in as much as we say that we are going to look for the firewood just around, remember there for good firewood, the forest must be affected to some extent. And so we must come up with this method where we can have these, leave alone the tree stone now, the modern one, where we can where it can preserve the heat for quite a good time, instead of using a lot of firewood and then emitting a lot of the smoke to the air. So there is that method of the modern one, where it uses bricks to conserve that heat, and then it uses less firewood. Yeah.
I think I'm in the group of people who need convincing as to why we need to stop using kuni, and to now shift to this other thing, briquettes and all. But Rhoda, when you talk about climate change, a lot of people always think about just planting trees, and that's all. But what are the hidden details that are there when we talk about climate change that you think, a lot of Kenyans and Africans are yet to quite understand about climate change?
The hidden things.
Yes.
First of all, I feel like people, when we hear climate change, we think of the conferences, the government, the policies. Because if you take like a sample of 10 people, I feel like 8 out of 10 will be like, well, that's the work of the government. So first of all, the hidden thing is that we need to understand that we are the primary contributors to that climate change and all that, and that as people we need to change fast for the climate to change, because even if we channel a lot of funds to climate change, even if we put those policies, and us as people we've not changed, nothing is going to change. So that is the first one. We need to understand that we are the contributors, and then we need to understand that we need to actively participate for us to ensure that we are safe. So one thing, first of all, we have planting trees, exactly as you've said, planting trees. I think it needs to go beyond planting trees, because you plant trees. Have you ever planted a tree like that?
Of course.
How is it? How is the tree?
Well, I left it there to grow. The rain is watering.
So like mostly what we do is just plant trees. After that, you don't know what happens to that tree. Maybe it dried up because maybe the rain was not sufficient. Maybe it had weeds. Maybe that place was rocky and you're supposed to transfer it to another place. So I think first of all you need to plant trees, and take care of those trees and ensure they are growing, because trees help a lot, because see, they use CO2. They help to trap the CO2. So first of all is go beyond planting trees. Ensure that that tree that you've planted is and it needs to come from you, because for you to take care of that tree, need to be like, yes, I have to take care of this tree. And also don't wait for those tree planting days. People wait for those holidays. You go and plant that tree, leave it there. Maybe you can have this initiative of like, maybe after a month, or maybe 2 months, or maybe I'll just plant one tree every year. That will make a difference, and then take care of it. Then also there's our own gardens at home. I feel like we need to have that, because if you try to plant this coriander, sukuma wiki, it's manageable. And if you manage to plant them at our kitchen gardens, in those maybe, so you've seen those vertical gardens?
Yes.
Yeah, those are space friendly. If you use that, you're going to reduce the need of us having to remove sukuma wiki from other counties, because those lorries that come are emitting the gases at the same time. Also, we have the electricity. We need to use less electricity. If the devices are not being used, just unplug them, because this electricity, manufacturing of the electricity also releases fossil. If you burn fossil fuels to get that electricity, we're going to emit the gases to the environment. Yeah, also the packaging. I cannot stress that enough, because the government banned plastic packages, right? But we still use them. Yeah. So I feel like it's up to you as a person to actively champion for the climate, because the government can have the funds, can have the policies, but if you don't want to change, nothing will change.
You're against lorry drivers coming from other other areas coming to Nairobi to bring whatever they're bringing, but now what happens to these lorry drivers who are of course in business? Hapo ndio wanatafuta kwenye watakula. What happens to them if they're not doing that transportation from, say, Kisumu to Nairobi, from Chuka to Nairobi? If now we cut down on that, that transportation and where they get their daily bread, then what happens to them? Because we're protecting the environment, then what happens to them?
I get that. I've not yet thought of that. But I feel like they'll get something else. They can maybe transport our wastes from those areas to our urban places. Then we can segregate. And make the briquettes. I feel like I've not yet thought of that, but I think they'll get something to do.
Will they really get something, Fidel? We're taking somebody else's job. We are trying to protect the environment. Yes, it's a good step. We are discouraging, the transportation of products from one county to another because of the gas that is emitted from these vehicles. Then this lorry driver, what happens to them? Are we ready for that conversation?
Of course, it is a thin balance, and lazima mtu hustle.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is a thin balance. That is the truth about it. So, of course, we have to check on the environmental effect, and we have to check on the sustainability. Yes, of course, we are already in a problem, and so we want a solution out of it. So eliminating or doing away with, let me say, the fuel trucks, it's not going to be the ultimate solution. Yes, even if we decide that we are now using the electrical trucks, of course that is one of the options to do away with that. So in as much as we have the fuel ones, we can think of moving towards the electrical vehicles. And then again, much more, the effect on the climate change, it begins with the individual initiative. Yes, of course, the truck drivers can be having the problem, but it is not let me say, it is not the 80% of the emission. It's not the 80% of the cost. Like, let's speak of home. No, much of it we've spoken of town. So now let's speak as people who grew up in the rural area. Yeah, we have the agriculture now. Agriculture, we have the fertilizers, the nitrous oxide fertilizers. We see that the nitrous fertilizers, they emit more heat than that of carbon dioxide. So, farmers believe that when they use more fertilizer, then they get more yield. We can have sustainable agriculture by using just little resources. So, in as much as we still have these, I think Kenya should shift the attention. I'm sorry to veer off from the question. Kenyans should shift from the current, the diesel or the petrol trucks towards the electrical vehicles. Yeah.
So drivers wa lori pia waache hizo lori waingie electrical lorries.
Yeah.
Is that what we are saying?
Electric. That makes more sense, honestly.
All right. So what do you think are some of the myths around climate change that you'd say we need to debunk?
The myths. Climate change. Honestly, I think it's we cannot do anything about it right now. It's way beyond our hands. I feel like we can still control it. If not manage it, we can stop the leak, you know. If you stop the leak, it means that there won't be any more how do I put this? There won't be any more emissions. Yeah, and also the things that we're experiencing right now due to climate change, let's say like floods. You know, people are like, oh, we already have climate change, climate has already changed, we now have flash floods because of the greenhouse gases, but we can maybe use gutters and trap that water. If every household maybe traps that water, we won't be having as much floods as we have right now. We can also work on the drainages. Yeah, so I feel like it's not a closed thing yet. I feel like we can still do something about it, and yeah, we can manage.
All right, Fidel, some of the myths around climate change?
Some of the myths are that climate change do not exist. Global warming do not exist. There's nothing like that. People say that those are calamities which come. But the truth is the climate change exists, the global warming exists, and the initiative must start with us. Yeah.
Let's talk about people who live in urban areas but with very limited spaces. How do they contribute to these steps, climate change? You know, they live in somewhere like Pipeline, right? We all know how Pipeline looks like. So people in such areas, how do they contribute to climate change?
Okay, so the steps we've given, first you have segregation of waste. I believe everyone, wherever they are, they can segregate waste. Because, see, we said because of limited space, we have like major bins where you can just go and segregate your waste. That's whether it contributes a lot to these gases. So
do you see that in places like Pipeline? Do they have the luxury of that?
No.
There's very limited space for that. So I'm looking at it from a point of sometimes, you know, they don't even get this papers that we talk about, the plastic bags that we are given to throw waste. So sometimes they're not even able to access that. They have limited space, number one. Plastic bags are a luxury to them. Then this limited space, aside from segregation, because that is now a luxury, then how can they contribute to this? Fidel, looks like you have an answer to that.
Yeah, the drainage system. Yeah. You will realize that these slums, they have poor drainage systems. And this is where the problem starts. Like for example, we have a problem with the drainage in this city. So we must first work on the drainage and then the dumping of these wastes. Yeah, I think we can manage on the dumping sites, because you will see, apart from the main dumping sites that we have in the country, most of these densely populated areas, of course they have a lot of waste, and then there is no proper management of those wastes. So you will find some improper dumping sites, and of course they release methane. Yeah, and methane is even more dangerous than carbon dioxide. Yeah.
Rhoda, you want to add something onto that?
No, he has said everything.
Yeah. But talk to us now about what inspired the solution and how, you know, the people whom you've introduced this to are embracing that particular product.
Okay, so first of all, I grew up in a dry area. I'm from Kitui, at a really dry area, and my dad is a school principal. And at that time growing up, you know, I had the luxury of going to school, but then we have these schools in our neighborhood now, and my dad is coming at home. My dad is stressed because he's like, people have not reported to school because of the yields. And you'd find that at some point, my dad could even use our own money just to try and keep his gates open for the students to come and study. And that was not enough. So instead of working on, like I decided to help their parents right now so that they get the yields that they need. You know, if they get the yields, because that is their main source of income, they won't have to choose between survival and education for their kids. So what inspired me basically is my upbringing, and I want to see the children of those farmers going to school. For the people who we've introduced them to, first we've done pilot tests, and the pilot tests reveal that when you use the product, it increases germination by 99% and the crop resistance by 23%. We've done in some areas back at home, and the people are really embracing it. It shows results. I wish I had carried some photos. I can show you the before and after you use it. And yeah, we have the SAPs in the market, but the farmers are not able to afford them because they're expensive. So the ones that you're coming up with are going to cut the cost by half. So I feel like, yeah, it's going to work and people are going to embrace it because for lack of a better word, they're desperate for a solution because they don't have money. And we plant, first of all, where we come from, when you plant, in areas like, let's say Kericho, these places that are green, if you plant, you have a guarantee that you're going to get the yields. Yeah, but for us, planting it's not even 50-50, it's like 80-20. Because there are some places where you plant today and they won't mature, they won't germinate, you'll just be left with bare land. So yeah, I feel like it was a problem that needed to be addressed because we cannot have more rain, but we can fix the ground to utilize the little water that it gets, because our product acts like batteries. You see the way it soils when in presence of your rain. And now the soil, it absorbs water and it soils the same way. So the plant now has the water in the soil and the water in the superabsorbent polymers to tap into, so it can sustain it for a period of time or between these drought periods, so that when the next rain comes, the plant will still be alive and it will continue to grow. So,
all right, interesting. So Fidel, for the purpose of education, right, what is wrong with the chemical fertilizers that farmers use on a day-to-day basis? Because now we are discouraging that and we're shifting towards waste, organic and recycling of waste products for soil boost. What is wrong with chemical fertilizers?
Chemical fertilizers. First, I want to say that we cannot eliminate it fully. We still have to use it. But
so in the long run, it's a good thing. Is it not? Mmekataa ama mnakubali?
In as much as it can be good, it is not the better. It is not the better option. So first, I'm speaking about the nitrous oxide, which I said it has more of the heating effect than the carbon dioxide. And then again, the use of the chemicals, we have the erosions. Like, it has no capacity, it has no ability to assist the soil erosion, and then it has no capacity of water holding. So much more, I would advise that we shift towards the
organic side.
Organic.
Rhoda, walk us through that. Teach our farmers who are watching this morning why they should start embracing organic fertilizer and even as much as they're using chemical fertilizer, and what is wrong with chemical fertilizers to the soil and to their produce.
Okay, so chemical fertilizers in the long run end up damaging the soil because have you heard that ametumia fertilizer mingi and that soil can no longer can no longer sustain plants without fertilizers. Say, you know of such cases. So first of all, in the long run, they have effects. Second of all, the erosion, the surface runoff, these fertilizers are going back to our rivers. They're going back to aquatic life. So they're still killing the aquatic life and all that. And we still have to maintain the balance between the ecosystem. Also, towards the organic side, we're going to be killing two birds with one stone, honestly, because if we use the kitchen waste and compost it and use it as manure. We have emitted, we have stopped the kitchen waste from going to the composts, from decomposing and emitting methane. So we've been climate action soldiers, and we're still, our plants are still thriving the right way. Something else like the diapers that we're going to use, that is safer for the plants first of all, and we're still going to be working on this issue emission, because we're trying to, reduce the amount of chemicals that we are emitting right now. And I believe, I don't know, don't misquote me, but I believe even in these fertilizers companies, we are emitting the gases. So if we stop or if we reduce the use of these fertilizers, even in the factories, they'll have to adjust to the organic side, and you're going to limit the number of emissions that are going to be released. So yeah, because companies just work on customers' demand. So if there's no demand for that, they'll have to shift. Yeah, so yeah, I feel like they should champion for organic.
All right. Climate action starts at home. What can every Kenyan do, you and me? What can we do to contribute to this conversation on climate action? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for making time. That is Rhoda Katuleve. She's the founder and CEO of Solution. And of course, Fidel Ouma, an environmental advocate. Let's continue this conversation on our socials. It's TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On X is TV47 Digital. Be sure to tag me at Annie_Dida. What can you do to contribute to climate action? Up next is a conversation on innovation. Can it fix Kenya's unemployment crisis? Fed is coming back with that particular discussion. Do stay right here. You're watching TV47 Breakfast. Good morning.